the future. And I think that's what Americans are focused on. What are we going to do going forward? Because day after day, what I spend my time working on is trying to help pick up the pieces for families and for injured soldiers, you know, trying to make sure that they get the help that they need, trying to give the resources that are required. We had to fight to get body armor. You know, George Bush sent people to war without body armor. We need a president who will be sensitive to the implications of the use of force and understand that force should be a last resort, not a first resort.
So what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you were naive in trusting President Bush?
No, that's not what you hear me say. Good try, Wolf. Good try. You know.
Was she naive, Senator Obama?
Well, you asked the question.
All right,
to me.
go ahead.
I deserve to answer.
I thought you weren't going to answer.
No, you know, I think that, you know, that is a good try, Wolf. The point is that I certainly respect Senator Obama making his speech in 2002 against the war. And then when he came to the Senate, we've had the same policy because we were both confronting the same reality of trying to deal with the consequences of George Bush's action. I believe that it is abundantly clear that the case that was outlined on behalf of going to the resolution, not going to war, but going to the resolution, was a credible case. I was told personally by the White House that they would use the resolution to put the inspectors in. I worked with Senator Levin to make sure we gave them all the intelligence so that we would know what's there. Some people now think that this was a very clear, open and shut case. We bombed them for days in 1998 because Saddam Hussein threw out inspectors. We had evidence that they had a lot of bad stuff for a very long time, which we discovered after the first Gulf War. Knowing that he was a megalomaniac, knowing he would not want to compete for attention with Osama bin Laden, there were legitimate concerns about what he might do. So I think I made a reasoned judgment. Unfortunately, the person who actually got to execute the policy did not.
Senator?
I don't want to belabor this because I know we're running out of time, and I'm sure you guys want to move on to some other stuff. But I do have to just say this. The legislation, the authorization, had the title, an authorization to use military force, U.S. military force in Iraq. I think everybody, the day after that vote was taken, understood this was a vote potentially to go to war. I think people were very clear about that. That's if you look at the headlines. The reason that this is important, again, is that Senator Clinton, I think fairly, has claimed that she's got the experience on day one. And part of the argument that I'm making in this campaign is that it is important to be right on day one, and that the judgment that I've presented on this issue and some other issues is relevant to how we're going to make decisions in the future. You know, it's not a function just of looking backwards, it's a function of looking forwards, and how are we going to be able to make a series of decisions in a very dangerous world. I mean, the terrorist threat is real, and precisely because it's real, and we've got finite resources, we don't have the capacity to just send our troops in anywhere we decide without good intelligence, without a clear rationale. That's the kind of leadership that I think we need from the next President of the United States. That's what I intend to provide.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue this. We have one more break to go through, a lot more coming up, including questions involving character. And remember, you can go to cnnpolitics.com and watch this online discussion that's being waged right now. We'll be right back. We want to welcome back to the Kodak Theater. This will be the final round of questions. We have several questions. If both of you can keep your answers relatively brief, we'll get through some other subjects. We'll begin with Doyle.
Senator Obama, we're in Los Angeles, the entertainment capital of the world. The audience here in the Kodak Theater includes many of the nation's most influential directors, producers, and actors. Now, for many years, parents have worried that there's just too much sex and violence coming out of Hollywood. Do you agree with that? And if you do, what will you do about it if you're elected president?
Well, I've got a 9-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old daughter. So I look at this not just as a legislator or a presidential candidate, but as a parent. And as a parent, yes, I am concerned about what's coming over the airwaves. Now, right now, my daughters mostly are on Nickelodeon. But they know how to work that remote. And, you know, the primary responsibility is for parents. And I reject the notion of censorship as an approach to dealing with this problem. I do think that it is important for us to make sure that we are giving parents the tools that they need in order to monitor what their children are watching. And obviously, the problem we have now is not just what's coming over the airwaves, but what's coming over the internet. And so for us to develop technologies and tools and invest in those technologies and tools to make sure that we are, in fact, giving parents power, empowering parents, I think is important. The one other thing I will say is, I don't mean to be insulting here, but you know, I do think that it is important for those in the industry to show some thought about who they are marketing some of these programs that are being produced to. And you know, I'm concerned about sex, but I'm also concerned, you know, some of the violent, slasher, horror films that come out, you see a trailer, and I'm thinking, I don't want my 6-year-old or 9-year-old seeing that trailer while she's watching American Idol. And sometimes, you know, you see that kind of stuff coming up. I think it is appropriate in a cooperative way to work with the industry to try to deal with that problem, and I intend to work in that fashion when I'm President of the United States of America.
Thank you, Senator. All right, we have another question from Jean. Go ahead, Jean.
Well, since we've dealt with the kids, let's deal with the spouses for a second. Senator Clinton.
He's a spouse, too.
Thankfully, Michelle is not on stage. I'm sure she could tell some stories as well.
Senator Clinton, your husband has set off several firestorms in the last few weeks in early primary states with the way that he has criticized Senator Obama. Greg Craig, who was one of your husband's top lawyers and is now a senior advisor to Senator Obama, recently asked, if your campaign can't control the former president now, what will it be like when you're in the White House?
Well, one thing I think is fair to say, both Barack and I have very passionate spouses who promote and defend us at every turn. You know, but the fact is that I'm running for president, and this is my campaign, and I have made it very clear that I want the campaign to stay focused on the issues that I'm concerned about, the kind of future that I want for our country, the work that I have done for all of these years, and that is what the campaign is about. And of course, I'm thrilled to have my husband and my daughter, who's here tonight, you know, representing me and traveling around the country, speaking with people. But at the end of the day, it is my name that's on the ballot, and it will be my responsibility as President and Commander-in-Chief, after consulting broadly with a lot of people who have something to contribute to difficult decisions, I will have to make the call. And I am fully prepared to do that. And I know that as we go forward in this campaign, it's a choice between the two of us. And we're proud of our spouses, we're proud of our families, we're proud of everybody supporting us. But at the end of the day, it's a lonely job in the White House. And it is the President of the United States who has to make the decisions. And that is what I'm asking to be entrusted to do.
This will be the last question. It'll go to both of you, to Senator Obama first. The more I speak to Democrats out there, not only the Democrats here at the Kodak Theater, but all over the country, they take a look at the two of you and they see potentially a dream ticket for the White House.